Hi, I'm Dan from DinMo. Welcome to our podcast, DinMo Talks, where AIs talk MarTech. We explore composable CDPs, modern data architecture, activation strategies, AI-driven decisioning, and the future of customer intelligence. Every episode is fed directly by our internal documentation, resources, real-life use cases, and in-depth articles. What you hear comes from what we actually build and implement every day. Today's episode is all about the next best offer, or NBO. If you want to cut through the noise and deliver the right message to the right person at exactly the right time, so this is for you. All right, I'll leave you with the discussion.
So, the defining paradox of modern marketing right now is, well, it's pretty brutal when you actually stop and look at the number.
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of a mess out there.
Right. I mean, brands have access to just petabytes of data on all of us. Transaction history, our location data. They even know how many milliseconds you hovered over a specific button on your phone.
Yeah, the granularity is terrifying.
It is. But at the same time, consumer irrelevance scores are at an all-time high. It's this classic smart brand, stupid ad problem.
It really is. I mean, you buy a toaster, right?
Yeah.
And then for the next 3 weeks, the entire internet is absolutely convinced you are like a professional toaster collector.
Exactly. You're just bombarded with toaster ads everywhere you go. And you'd think, with all this AI and machine learning we hear about, that wouldn't happen anymore.
You would think so, yeah.
But today we are diving into a stack of research that argues this isn't actually a data volume problem, it's a decision-making problem.
That's the core issue.
So we're taking a deep dive into the concept of the next best offer, or NBO. And our mission today is to figure out how companies are trying to move from that old school spray and pray approach to using AI to figure out the single most valuable proposition for a specific human at a specific second.
And, valuable is the key word there.
Wow.
We aren't just talking about selling more stuff to people.
Okay.
We're really talking about the mechanics of relevance. Because if brands don't solve this, if they don't move from generic segmentation to predictive NBO, they're just going to turn customers. People are just, they're tired of the noise.
Completely tired of it. So let's strip away the buzzwords for a second. Next best offer? It sounds so simple on paper, but the implementation is obviously where the bodies are buried.
Oh, for sure. It's incredibly complex behind the scenes.
So how are the sources we have today defining this versus, say, a standard recommendation engine? Because, Amazon's been doing the whole people who bought this also bought that thing for like 20 years now.
Right. That distinction is critical to understand. Standard recommendations, what we call collaborative filtering, are usually based on similarity or just overall popularity.
Like finding your digital twin.
Exactly. It's very reflective. It essentially says, you look like user A, so you should buy what user A bought.
Got it.
But NBO is predictive. It uses machine learning to look at the immediate context. So, time of day, the specific channel you're on, your recent friction points.
Like if you just had a bad customer service call.
Yes. All of that context. And it uses it to determine which offer creates the most value for both the customer and the business right in that moment.
So it's not just looking for a mirror image of your past, it's actually calculating your future intent.
That's a great way to put it.
But hold on, you said value for the business. That kind of implies a conflict of interest here,
What do you mean?
Well, if the most value for me, the consumer, is a 50% discount code, but the value for the business is selling the item at full price, who wins in an NBO model?
That is the million-dollar question. And honestly, that tension is the beating heart of a real NBO strategy.
Okay, so it isn't just giving the customer whatever they want.
Not at all. It's an arbitration. The algorithms are constantly weighing your probability of conversion against the company's margin targets.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if the data says you're highly likely to buy that item without a discount, a sophisticated NBO system will actually suppress the coupon. You won't even see it.
That's wild. So it's optimizing for yield, not just conversion. It's the difference between can I sell this and should I sell this?
Precisely. It's about precision over volume. Think about buying an airline ticket.
Okay.
If the system knows you're going to buy that flight to London anyway, maybe you fly there every November, showing you a 10% discount creates negative value for the airline.
Because they're just throwing money away.
Right. So the next best offer in that case might be an upgrade to premium economy Or honestly, it might be nothing at all regarding the price. It might just be an offer to pick your rental car.
That makes a lot of sense, which actually leads us to the other acronym that kept popping up in the research material today, NBA.
Ah, yes. Next best action.
Right. Next best action. So is this just a rebranding of the same thing? Because, in corporate speak, offer and action usually both mean, please give us your money.
They do often sound the same, but they are cousins, not twins. And understanding the difference really shows how this whole strategy has evolved over the last few years.
Okay, lay it on us.
So NBO Next Best Offer is almost always commercial. It's a transaction. Buy this upgrade or renew this subscription.
Money changing hands.
Exactly. NBA Next Best Action is much more holistic. It takes a step back and asks, what should we do with this person right now?
And sometimes the answer is non-commercial.
Sometimes the answer is literally to do nothing.
The do-nothing action. I have to say, that feels completely counterintuitive for a marketing engine. Marketers love to market.
They do. But doing nothing is a highly valid strategy. Look, if this data shows you've contacted a customer 3 times this week and their sentiment score is trending down, maybe they're ignoring emails or closing the app faster.
You're getting annoyed.
Right. In that case, the next best action is a suppression rule. Leave them alone. Let them breathe.
Or, I suppose, if I'm browsing a company's how to cancel page, the next best action probably shouldn't be a pop-up cross-selling me a new feature.
Exactly. That would be disastrous. The NBA, there is a retention script, or maybe a how can we help chat trigger.
So it's reading the room.
Yes. NBO plays the short game of revenue, but NBA plays the long game of lifetime value. NBA acts as a safety valve. If the NBO engine is pushing too hard to sell, the NBA logic can step in and say, wait, this customer's at risk, don't sell, support.
That is fascinating. Okay, let's look under the hood of all this.
Yeah.
Because the theoretical concept is great, the right message at the right time, but the engineering required to pull this off in milliseconds must be heavy.
It's a massive technical lift.
The sources outline this really specific 5-step flow. I'd love for you to walk us through the decision chain, because I really think step 4 is where people listening are going to get surprised.
Sure, let's break it down. It starts with step 1, data, obviously.
Right.
We're talking first-party signals here. Your transaction history, your real-time clicks on the website, what you have in your cart right now.
All the breadcrumbs you leave behind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But immediately after data comes step 2, which is eligibility.
Yeah.
This is basically the filter. Before the AI even tries to score anything, it has to ask, what is this customer actually allowed to have?
Okay, so this is the guardrails. Like, don't offer a new customer-only rate to someone who's been loyal for 5 years.
Right. Or don't offer a physical product that happens to be out of stock in their specific zip code. You filter out the impossible or the forbidden first.
Makes sense. So what's step 3?
Step 3 is scoring. This is where the AI brain really goes to work. It takes all the remaining eligible offers and ranks them by probability.
So it says, 80% chance they click the shoes, 20% chance they click the hat.
Exactly. It's a pure mathematical probability based on your profile and behavior.
But this goes right back to our earlier point, right? Just because I will definitely click the shoes doesn't mean the brand should show them to me.
Which brings us perfectly to step 4, arbitration.
This is the one I found so interesting.
It's the step most companies miss, honestly. And it's where the intelligence in artificial intelligence gets tested against reality. This is where business logic overrides the AI probability.
So unpack that conflict for us. The AI says, show him the shoes, he wants the shoes. What does the arbitration layer say back?
The arbitration layer might look at the live inventory levels and say, hold on, we only have 2 pairs of these shoes left in his size, and we have a high-value customer segment that regularly buys these at full price.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Right. And then it looks at you and says, this user is a chronic discount shopper. He only buys on sale. Don't show him the shoes. Save them for the full price buyer.
Right.
Or let's look at shipping weight. Let's say the AI scores a free shipping offer very high for you. You love free shipping. You always click it.
I mean, I do love free shipping. I will add $20 of stuff I don't need just to save $5 on shipping.
We all do it.
Huh.
But the arbitration layer looks at the actual items in your cart, calculates the logistics cost based on the total weight, and realizes the margin turns negative if they ship it for free.
The business loses money.
Exactly. So the business rule steps in and kills the offer. The AI's probability is completely overruled by the business's profitability.
It's a real-time profit and loss check happening before the page even loads.
Exactly. And then finally, we have step 5, which is activation, delivering that final payload, the chosen offer to the website or the email server instantly.
Now, that word instantly really matters here. The research we reviewed spent a lot of time on the architecture of this, specifically this concept of a composable CDP and zero-copy architecture.
Yeah, the technical foundation.
Now, usually when I see the word architecture in a marketing paper, my eyes just glaze over and I start skimming.
Fair enough.
But this actually seems to be the solution to that exact latency problem we talked about earlier. The whole reason why I see ads for the toaster I already bought.
It is the absolute solution to that problem. Because the old way, the siloed way of managing data involved constantly copying lists.
What do you mean?
Well, you have a master database, and then every day you copy a list of customers to your email marketing tool. Then you copy another list to your ad platform and another to your website personalization engine.
And copying all that data across different servers takes time.
Exactly. By the time the email tool actually receives and processes the list, the data is stale. You bought the shoes in the morning. That data is recorded in the main transaction database.
Okay.
But the email tool won't know that until the nightly data sync runs at 2 in the morning.
So at 4 in the afternoon, I get an abandoned cart email pleading with me to buy the exact shoes I'm currently wearing.
Exactly. And it just makes the brand look completely out of touch.
So what does zero copy mean then? Does it mean the tools are just reading directly from the source?
That's it. Think of it like a college library. In the old way, every student took a textbook back to their dorm room to study. If the professor changed a chapter in the master text at the library, the student in the dorm had no idea. They were studying old information.
Because they just have their own static copy.
Right. Zero copy means everyone has to study in the main library. The email tool, the website, the mobile app, they don't hold their own data anymore. They all query the central data warehouse directly every single time they need to make a decision.
So the decisioning is happening on live data right that second.
Live data. That is the only way you get real-time NBO. If you click return item on the website, the marketing engine knows it within milliseconds and kills the upsell campaign immediately.
That explains so much. It explains why sometimes the internet feels like it's lagging 3 days behind your actual life, and other times it feels eerily in sync with your thoughts. It all comes down to whether they are copying data or querying it live.
It's the difference between looking at a photograph and watching a live feed.
That is such a good analogy. Okay, let's pivot and talk about some real-world use cases. We've covered retail pretty well, the shoes, the toaster, but the sources mention SaaS and subscription models as being particularly fertile ground for MBO.
Oh, absolutely. They are heavily invested in this.
I thought that was interesting because, for me, SaaS usually feels a little less transactional than buying a pair of sneakers.
It is less transactional, and that is exactly why NBO is even more powerful there. In a software as a service model, the relationship is ongoing. It's a living thing.
Right.
A great use case here is what we call feature adoption. Let's say you have a user on a free, basic plan for a project management tool, and the data shows they keep hitting their storage limit, or they keep trying to click on features that are grayed out.
The classic power user in training.
Exactly. The NBO system spots that exact friction point. But instead of just blasting them with a generic upgrade now banner that everyone sees.
Which we all just ignore anyway.
Right. Banner blindness. Instead, the offer is highly specific. It says unlock unlimited file exports. And it's triggered exactly at the moment they try to export a file and fail.
Oh, that's smart.
The conversion rate on those context-aware NBOs is exponentially higher than generic email blasts because it solves an immediate frustrating problem for the user.
It totally changes the vibe. It goes from a sales pitch to a solution. It's like saying, hey, here's the key to the door you are currently trying to open.
It feels helpful rather than intrusive. And the flip side of that is churn prevention, which is huge in SaaS.
How does it work for churn?
Well, if a user just stops logging in, or their usage drops by 50% month over month, the MBO engine switches modes. It stops trying to extract value through upsells, and it starts trying to restore value.
But this is where that arbitration layer we talked about would have to get really smart, right?
How so?
Because if you just automate a 50% discount to everyone who stops logging in, you're basically training your customers to threaten to leave just to get a cheaper price.
Oh, that is a massive risk. We see companies fall into that trap all the time.
I've definitely done it with my cable bill.
We all have.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why the next best offer for churn isn't always a discount. If the data shows you stop logging in immediately after encountering a technical error code, giving you 20% off won't fix the bug.
It doesn't solve the friction.
Right. The MBO in that scenario should be an automated outreach from a technical account manager. Hey, Saw you had an issue exporting. Can I walk you through it?
That is so much more effective. Or maybe even offering a downgrade.
Sometimes, yes. A pause your subscription for a month offer is often a vastly superior MBO than a simple cancel button because it retains the customer relationship, even if the revenue pauses temporarily.
It's playing the long game again. Listening to all this, it really seems like we're moving away from fixed marketing scenarios. Where a marketer sits in a conference room and says, okay, on day 3, we send email B to everyone. We're moving to this fluid, completely data-driven logic.
We are entirely. We're moving from the madman era of intuition. I just think this headline will work, to the mathmen era of probability.
The math men.
Yeah, it's an engineering discipline now. Data activation lever is the specific phrase the researchers use in the sources. You aren't just hoarding data in a warehouse anymore. You are using it to physically pull a lever that changes the customer's experience in real time.
I really like that phrase, data activation. It sounds very mechanical, but the actual output, the experience for the user is actually more human, or at least it's more considerate of what they actually need.
Ideally, yes. When it works, it feels like great service.
So let's bring this all back to you, listening to this right now. We've all got these devices in our pockets, constantly vibrating, constantly screaming for our attention. What should we, as the everyday targets of these NBO systems, take away from this deep dive?
I think it's about fundamentally understanding the social contract we've entered into. We are trading our personal data for convenience and for relevance.
Right.
When a brand uses an MBO strategy well, that trade actually feels fair. You get an offer that saves you time or helps you out. But when they do it poorly, when they use your data just to spam you louder more often, they've broken that contract.
Like if I give you my behavioral data, I expect you to be smart enough to know that I already bought the toaster.
Exactly. Don't make me do the work of filtering your noise. NBO is the mechanism for brands to keep that promise. It's the tool that finally stops the noise.
I love that. So here's a final thought to leave you with. Next time you are scrolling on your phone and you see an ad that feels just a little too perfect.
Eerily perfect.
Right, like how on earth did they know I needed that exact thing right at this exact moment?
No.
Just remember, it wasn't fate, it wasn't serendipity, and they probably aren't listening through your microphone.
Definitely not. It was a complex arbitration of business rules, inventory logic, and propensity scoring.
All happening silently in a data warehouse somewhere in under 200 milliseconds. But it does make you wonder, did you actually want it? Or did the algorithm just map your psychological state so perfectly that it created the want? Something to chew on next time you click Buy Now.
A slightly terrifying but very real thought.
Romance is dead. Long live the algorithm.
Thank you for listening to this DinMo Talks episode. We hope you enjoyed the discussion. See you next time for another conversation on DinMo Talks.